Hey guys, I'm going to show you a basic intro video of some of my hard surface tools and the methods I use. I'm not the first person to use this, and I probably won't be the last person to show you. Uh, but it's pretty effective, and once I discovered it, I was actually pretty excited about it because I was like, how do you get hard surface and not go over to max? With the new ZBrush, there are ways where you can use the Z modeler and go that route, or alternatively, you can also use the tools. It's a little bit lengthier of a process, but I tend to like it. So I'm actually start out with the trim dynamic. Um, a lot of times you hit trim dynamic to hit the planes, and then you come back in with the H polish, the hard polish, to kind of like make it a little more crisp. I find you can get you like 80% of the way, or I often call it the concepting stage, because then I come in and I retop and I crease, as you'll see, to create a more precise edge. It all depends on what you want. If you want something a little more handmade looking, you can just do this route and stop there. Use the clip curve tool, and there's also clip center and clip circle, I think. They can get you most of the way there. A lot of times I like to build it up perfectly or really crisp, and then I pull it back, as you'll see in some of the other videos later. So I also come in with the clay brush, and then if I want that peak, I bring in the Damien standard, and I come back in with the clay, and then the trim dynamic, and then the hard surface to kind of get those edges I want. That's just kind of a way to build up shapes, and it works pretty nice. So now I'll come in with the trim dynamic. Bigger strokes are always better than little strokes, even though I'm doing little strokes here, but you kind of want a movement rather than little tiny movements. And a lot of times it doesn't matter, since this method I'm going to use, it doesn't matter how nice it is, it just matters where those peaks and valleys are. Kind of figure this out from experimenting, so I suggest to just get in there and start using it. So with the retopping tool, what you'll want to do, hold on a second. I want to come back in and work this out more. So when you want to use the retop tool, make sure whatever object you have, if you have multiple subtools selected, make sure you have the one you want to work on selected. Go to the Z sphere and then come down to adaptive skin and put it down to 1 on the density, because when you hit A, that's kind of like your preview, and it either subdivides it up or stays where you wanted it, sub level 1. if you want to add in a previously created topology, you might want to have select topology under edit topology. You hit that, and then whatever subtool you have loaded in above, it will come into here, and you can use. So select mesh, select the mesh you want, and then hit edit topology. Right now I have a solo on, and I don't realize it. I spend a few minutes trying to figure it out. Alright, now with edit topology on, so you can click, I would put your brush down to 1, and where you click it drops the verts, and you can make topology. You can also hit Alt and remove, or if you hit Control you can select individual verts. By using WER at the top, you can do move, rotate, and scale. So you can move them around as you want, which is sometimes helpful. But let's go back to draw. You want to use as little polygons as possible to create crisper lines. And if you want to do curves, you have to add more lines. So generally keep the topology low. I'm not even going to worry about what this topology flow actually is. Like I could do triangles if I wanted, as long as it works, because I'm going to Dynamesh it anyways, and then if this was like a game modeling flow, I just retop it afterwards. So I'm not worried about that. I'm just worried about getting the art I want. Don't worry about super technical stuff or whatever till later. That's the way it should be, in my opinion. The art always dictates everything else. So as you hit A, that's the preview, and see if you have it on a higher level, it goes up higher with your polyflow, which we don't want in this case. So I'm going to hit A again and go back to edit. Also, you don't have to connect polygons to get to have it create polygons. I just tend to want to do it. You might be able to save some time in the long run. As long as those edges line up and there's 4 verts that would make a polygon, and if it's inside a polygon, polygons already, it'll create a polygon for you. So then when you're done, I forgot to do something here, but I'm going to hit make adaptive skin, but I actually wanted a thickness to it, which I'll get back to in a minute here. So from here, what I want to do, I actually want to show, I want some thickness. I want the thickness to move in. So down on skin thickness under topology, you want to move that cursor in negative so it kind of drops down. You want to make sure which way it goes. Sometimes faces are flipped, and when you think you're going down, you're actually going up. So just pay attention to that. You might like retop the wrong way accidentally, and it'll create that. So then you hit adaptive skin. Now you have it up here, and let's go to the tool we were working on, and then we'll append it in. Once I find it. So I already had one loaded in because I messed something up, so I'll just delete it. So I want to pin the new one in. And now there's a few things I want to do. So I noticed some of those edges were too high on the dipping area right there, so I wanted to move it in. So now you used to like hide areas and hit the crease button, and whatever area was hidden, the edges on those hidden areas created the creases. But now with the new Z modeler, it makes things a whole lot easier. You could use edge loop or just do edges by themselves. So this is without doing all the corners, so make sure you hit all those corners that you want and put it on edge. And then you can hit Control D to divide up. If you don't like it, Control Z, go backwards and redo it. So that's what we got here, and I'm going to clean up some things, and don't be afraid to move things afterwards and to adjust as you go, because this is not like a final crisp clean end result. Like, there's a lot, just trust your artistness, your artist instinct. So I forgot a piece here. I'm going to recrease that one and now subdivide up. So just trust yourself, and you got the tools, you got the know-how. So just go out there. Like, I wanted the sharp edge, but I didn't want these edges to come down from the middle. So I kind of wanted to get rid of those after it's done saving here. And then there's a little pinch up there higher that we'll take care of later. So since the subdivision level is low enough, I can just smooth those out. But if it was a little higher, which I think this other one I increased a little bit, you might want to use the tools. Subdivide it higher, and then trim and hard polish, kind of smooth. Just work it in until you're happy with it. So in this case, I'd actually keep working it in, but I'm going to move forward and show you the slice curve tool, which is pretty cool. So it makes polygroups from your slices after I dynamesh this. Now after everything is grouped together and kind of closed off, you want to have groups on and hit dynamesh again. And now when you hit smooth on it, or what I like to do, I like to hit polish, it'll make this really nice crease. There might be a little bit issues on the back depending on how complicated your model is, but that's the back side, so you're not going to look at it. And if you were making a game model, you would retop it anyways. So again, it's still something you wouldn't see. If it was going to be something you'd see, you'd want to go in and make sure you spend more time cleaning it up, which I don't do in this video. So now I want to tackle that little area where it had a little pinching before, because it's a whole lot easier to clean right now. And then you can always smooth from there and push a little further out. Yeah, if you're going to move those two separate each other, I might want to mask one of them. For some reason I didn't do that. And it's not perfect. Like, as I said, when you get more complicated in the shapes and angles, it creates more issues. Like, if it's just a straight line, it would be really clean and it'd look nice. So the next shape I want to do is kind of like this. And I'll kind of show you how I go about that. I kind of struggled through it. For some reason it was giving me a lot of trouble. And that's the wrong tool. Use the slice curves again. So you want to make one line and then make a separate line from that, and then you want to group things based on what you want separated. Because if I would have tried to do it all in one motion, it would have created a lot more issues than this is going to create. So I just want that one piece. So I want to group this, close the hole, group the other one, close the hole, but as you see, it'll create an issue on this one. But I solve it, more or less. And what I should have done from the beginning was just move that other piece on the bottom out, because it's just kind of in the way and I didn't really need it to explain what I was doing here. So it created it, but I'm not happy with the corner. So I'm going to keep working on it for a little bit. Yeah, so I started coming in with the clip curve, and then I decided it was more issues than it was worth, so I was just going to clip it out and then the other, uh, pull the mesh to where the other one was and kind of fake it. Clip curve is another good one that's great for hard surface stuff. I'm going to mask off the one, pull the other one to it. So this is kind of a quick, rough way of doing it, but it works. If I wanted it more precise, I'd take a lot longer to do it. And then I do a few little things to smooth it out.